Here we are, number 7. Y equals negative 3 over 2x plus 3. I got to memorize that so I can write down. And y equals negative x. So negative 3 over 2x plus 3. Alright, so we've got y equals negative 3 over 2x plus 3. And I forgot, I think it's y equals negative x, but let's see. Y equals negative x, that's it. So we have, I'll do it in a different color, y equals negative x. So again, we're going to use substitution, and because y equals negative x, I can sub that in for y, and whenever I do that, my equation is going to look like this, and I'll color code it. So we've got negative x, as I put that in for y, equals negative 3 over 2x plus 3. And again, you can pick a variable side and a number side. That kind of helps point you in the right direction as to who you need to get rid of. And I need to get rid of that negative 3 over 2x. So I'm going to add 3 over 2x because that's the opposite of subtracting 3 over 2x. And I can cross it out. And then over here, I need to add 3 over 2x. And so this is the part where it is going to get kind of confusing for some kids because they're not real comfortable working with fractions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this part right here, and I am going to come over here to the side, and I'm going to show you how to work that out, okay? And then I'll come back and finish up the rest of the equation. So what I have is I have a negative x and a positive 3 over 2x. And Logan, you want to say hi? Can you say hi? Hi. All right. Now you have to be quiet because I'm making a video for some students, okay? But you can watch. All right. So we've got... what's really hidden in front of that x is there's really a hidden 1 in front of that x. And so you can turn anything into a fraction by writing it over 1. So that's really 1 over 1. So, but when you're adding and subtracting fractions, you have to have a common denominator. So your denominators 1 and 2, right now they're not common. So you have to think, what does this denominator need to be in order for it to be the same as 2, and that is 2, okay? You have to have a common denominator of 2. Now, if I change the denominator to be 2, I also have to change the numerator, because remember, it has to equal 1, and 1 divided by 2 does not equal 1. So that means I have to change the numerator to also be 2. So 2 over 2, 2 divided by 2, that still equals 1, so that's still the same value. If you're unsure about adding and subtracting with fractions, you're going to have to do some studying. It's a 6th grade standard, so you can do some Google searching and find out how to add and subtract fractions, but you've got to know how to do that. Anyway, so now that I have a common denominator, I am going to, you learned back in 7th grade that if your signs are different, then that means you're going to subtract. So I'm going to take 3 and I'm going to subtract 2. So 3 minus 2 equals 1. And don't forget your common denominator. It stays the same. It stays 2. And don't leave off your x. So now I'm left with half x. Now the question is, should it be a positive half x or a negative half x? You also learned in 7th grade that whenever you're adding and subtracting, you look to see what you have the most of. And in this case, I have more positives because 3 halves is more than 2 halves. So this should be a positive 1/2 x. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to my equation and let's write it out so we can see what this thing looks like. So I have a positive 1/2 x. And equals positive 3. So now I want to get x by itself. So I need to get rid of that half. And if you're wondering what that half is doing, it's multiplying. And we know that because it's right up next to the variable. So the opposite of multiplying a half is dividing a half. So I divide this side by half, cross it out, and then I'm going to divide this side by 1/2 also. Now this is a huge review on 6th grade stuff because you have to learn, or you have to remember, how you divide fractions. And a common way that 6th grade teachers teach how to divide fractions is with the letters K, C, F. And what that means, that's an F, what that means is you keep the first fraction the way it is, you change the second fraction, or you change the operation to be multiplication, and then you flip the second fraction. So whenever you do that, you just multiply straight across now. 3 times 2 is 6, and 1 times 1 equals 1. So I've got 6 over 1. So now let's see what our equation looks like. Our equation looks like x equals 6 over 1, which is the same as just 6. So I've got half of my answer right now is 6. So now I need to find out what y equals. And the way I do that is I'm just going to use substitution again. You can use any fraction or any equation that you want. I'm scrolling up and I'm going to use this second fraction or equation because it looks easier. It's just y equals negative x. And I'm going to sub it in and it's going to look like this. So I'm going to write y equals negative x. I'm going to take that 6 and put it in for x. And now my equation looks like this. Y equals negative 6. So now I have my second answer. Y equals negative 6. So my final answer is x equals 6 and y equals negative 6.